Welcome to Let's Take a Moment for Youth. This podcast is brought to you by the Wheelock College of Education and Human Development's Center for Future Readiness at Boston University. My name is Scott Solberg, and I'm joined by
Annie Bell
and
Shraven Kateson.
The Take a Moment series is designed to explore innovations that create opportunities for all children and youth to develop their full potential. Our podcast is designed for those of you who are interested in or who are currently working in schools, community-based organizations, or are concerned parents and caregivers seeking new ideas and resources. Annie, tell us about today's topic.
So today we are going to be discussing career exploration skills and the resources and platforms that can go along with that.
All right. So let's talk about this kind of in context. So we've had a conversation about self-exploration skills, which is how do we support youth in just figuring out who they are as a person, their qualities, their interests, their skills, their talent. Once they've got a sense of that, right, then the question is, what do I do with it? Right. And that's what we're talking about today, right? We're going to talk about how can we begin exploring the different opportunities that are out there in the world of work. And there's so many, but where do we even go to figure all of this out, right? So this is going to, I'm really looking forward to this. So one thing we will talk about as we go through this is kind of online career information systems, because we need access to technology. And so we'll talk about some that are out there in the market, but also some free ones that are available from our government, which is fun. The other thing is that we also just need to begin thinking about conversations where we're linking these different opportunities that are out there to specific skills, and then thinking about what are the pathways from education and learning that helps us get there. We also want to be thinking about work-based learning opportunities as part of this too. So it's not just, here's something I'm interested in. Who can I talk with? Where can I learn more about it and really feel what it's like? You know, how many times we've heard the story of someone showing up to medical school only to find out there was blood involved. And at that point they said, maybe I need a new path. Well, how did we not know there was blood involved?
Right.
So obviously there's times where once we really learn about what this thing is, it looked great on paper, it looked great when I saw people doing things, but we really need work-based learning to really figure it out, and mentors that can really talk us through it. So there's a lot about career exploration. Today we're really going to focus more on how do I get started and even thinking about some of these opportunities and where I can go with that. Okay. So I think we were going to start with, I think, Trey, you had something for us, something you found that looks really exciting.
Yeah, so I think we will start with the story first.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I grew up in a very religious household. My family is Hindu, and I grew up very religious as well. And all I used to do was whenever I used to pray, I used to be like, I need everybody to be peaceful in this world, you know? That was just such a big, fear of mine, that people are just going to be sad or, something about something, you know what I mean? Because I was just a very compassionate kid, I think. So all that to say, I did not have a lot of, career exploration skills to put that compassion and empathy to use. Because that was such a big, and that is still today, a big quality of mine. And I use it every day in the current career path that I am on. But I did not know back then how exactly to put that into use. So the resource I'm going to talk about today is the UN Sustainable Goal Values and the 170 occupations list.
That comes with that. So just to kind of follow up with what you're saying, so when you talked about it, you're wanting everyone to have well-being, balance, care, and support, right? So there's kind of a community sense to how you were even thinking about what you wanted in this world, right? You wanted to have something at the community level. And so talk about these UN Sustainable Development Goals, because when you saw that, it must have been like, oh, look at this. This is how I can start thinking about that.
Yeah. So let's see. So when I looked at the list, I saw the diversity, of career paths that also contribute to sustainable goals. So, because let's see, it doesn't have to be like a explicitly public service focused career that would contribute to a sustainable goal. And that, I think, was my biggest shock factor, because all I thought was I need to go to this path to put my empathy and compassion to use. But it doesn't have to be that, because there are so many career paths that contribute to the sustainable goals, right? And that's to say, it's not limited to certain fields. And that, I think, would give a lot of people more options, especially in a world where financial stability has become so crucial, right? Not to say that professions are not financially stable. I'm just trying to say that some professions and some people are forced to make choices that they don't want to just because of financial stability reasons.
Yeah.
So this was very cool to know that that's not the only way.
Now, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, let's give a little context. So the United Nations put together 17 different goals that they felt are needed if our planet is going to survive, right? And more importantly, survive and thrive, not just survive. And so these 17 are kind of interesting to think about, because if I want to have an impact in my community, right, these are the same kind of things that one would be looking at a global level as well. So it does connect a lot. And it just seems like you've described that you had this empathy skill, but I think, and as you do, but I think we also have a generation that really wants to have a community impact. You know, they're looking for meaning. Why am I sitting in this classroom? And it's not because I said you need to sit in this classroom, right? That hasn't worked too well over the generations. But seeing that this is a pathway to help me envision myself in becoming something like this, these other kind of opportunities, does have an important role, right? Yeah. Well, that's great. So, anything else you want to add on that?
I was just curious about your thoughts on this, Annie. What do you think about this resource?
I first encountered the Sustainable Development Goals in probably life design, I would say. And that was sort of around a conversation of what values do you align with? And then tied into those goals, what occupations do you feel drawn to? And I think that list and that sort of exercise was a great chance to kind of consider, we're in college, potentially a new city, studying something that you've never studied before. Maybe you're in a new country, you're an international student coming to BU. And it was an amazing chance to say, I can have a career that's aligned with my values, and then those values and that career can have a positive impact on the world.
Right.
And just the breadth of occupations that are tied to these goals. It's not all nonprofit work or humanitarian work. They place value on other roles contributing to positive, progress around the world. And so I think that it was kind of, the word I'm looking for is empowering.
Inspiring.
Inspiring, just kind of uplifting in a way that you could pursue a career and make a difference and also satisfy your values and goals at the same time.
Yeah, because I think that sense of purpose that especially this generation, like you said, Scott, is looking for is so important, right? Because that gives you the motivation to keep going and to go through with the path that you've chosen or explore different paths, whatever it may be, to achieve that goal. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think, when we first started doing this work, the math teachers were really excited because once they found out what that destination goal was, they felt they have leverage to say, all right, you want to be a veterinarian, well, you got to know math. Right? But just that little bit of feeling like I can connect the dots now to help you understand why these things are important. And more importantly, in this process of exploration, we want our middle and high school students to learn for themselves what those different needs are that they need to develop. So it's not just the teacher or the parent that's stating that. And that's what this whole individualized career planning process is about. It's self-discovery and then discovering the way to get to our goals and things like that. So one of the cool things we have then is from some colleagues, really important, it's a sustainable development goals card sort, right? So instead of a paper and pencil of do you like this or do you like that, it's just a set of cards, and you kind of go in and traditionally we used to use these values auction cards. We still do, where do you want achievement, do you want money, do you want all these, and you realize, if I can only have 2 of these, which are the most important out of these 100, right? What makes this different is it's really around here are the kinds of values around addressing these planetary, this whole UN Sustainable Development Goals issue. Which of these do you find most interesting? And you can do many. You don't have to just take 4 or 5. And you can think about which of those are really I want in my job. Maybe there's things I want in my care work or in my volunteer work. To really kind of think through those. And it's kind of nice. It was originally developed by some colleagues at the University of Lausanne, Switzerland, Shakina Rochat and Jonas Mazdanati, some colleagues of mine that are out there that shared it with us at a recent conference, and we got so excited. And what's nice about it, if you're the educator, is we've got this link on our website. You'll see the resource, and when you print it front and back, the cards are ready to cut. It's that simple of an activity, and there's instructions. But it's just fun to let youth and even young adults, as you were talking about at college level, but certainly with youth, to just kind of see what's there, and we, playing the game, I was thinking each individual might do it, but then when I gave it out to to my students to practice with, they did as a group. They talked about them. They went around and thought about each card, what each one meant, and where they fell as a group around it, which I thought was really interesting too.
Right, it's that community thing.
Exactly.
This generation is
Exactly.
searching for.
So lots of ways. That you don't have to follow this in the normal way, but I like the narrative aspect where we're talking. We're talking about it. We're talking through these things. And I think it's a richer experience, and I think it'll help youth really, kind of tie into something that looks relevant.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah, going to what you said about narrative, right? I think this particular activity also just helps youth develop a personal narrative before they go on to develop a public narrative, because developing your personal narrative and finding yourself is very important to go to the public narrative part. And I think that's why these values and skills that we use in this activity is really important. Well, firstly, because it helps people connect with each other and find themselves as well. Yeah.
I think I want to hear you, Annie, just say, but I just want to hit on that. I love the way you said that. That's fantastic. It explains why my students get really frustrated when I say, all right, let's go public. It's like developing that personal self, right?
Right.
Takes time.
Yes.
It has to emerge. I have to start feeling comfortable with it. And then I'm ready for it to become public, right?
Yes.
So I think that's a really good point. Really like that.
Well, it's funny, that's exactly what I was going to build off of too, is that as I have examined my own values and sort of made peace with my own values and the priorities that I have in my life, and like 24, and one of my top values is family and spending time with my family. I'm not the kind of person that's going to move across the world, and that's something that I felt like not was wrong, but it was different than what I was seeing other people that I knew do.
For sure.
And I'm okay with it now, but from that sort of acceptance and appreciation of my own values and beliefs, I have been able to make, I would say, like career and educational decisions with less stress and anxiety. Because I kind of know who I am, and I make decisions in line with those values, and it makes it less overwhelming. So it's kind of like the self-exploration builds into this just like ability to make decisions in all other parts of your life,
Wow.
So anyway, just wanted to tell
that's
that.
fantastic, because there's so much pressure when you're coming out of high school. Everyone's going to college, right? That's if you're not, then I'm lost. I have nothing, and that's what we're trying to get away from. There's multiple pathways, and what I hear you describing is the more you feel comfortable and aware of your guiding principles, right, and your values and what the context is, easier for me to step off. I don't have to do it in that same way, right? And so I think for you, it's like 1 hour away by flight is probably as far as you're ready to go.
Yeah. And I think almost every day I consider being even closer. and that's just something that I'm, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great.
That's okay.
It's great. All right.
But in terms of the card sword, I will say that I think you both sort of picked up on what I would have said anyway. I love the design aspect of it. It just makes it was very clearly a conscious decision to format it the way that they did, and I think that that's so amazing. It's very much, educator, professor, researcher, or, everyday person ready, and I think that that's fantastic. We need more resources like that. And then I also like the fact that there's no set sort of prescribed limit. you know, you have to pick 5, you have to pick 3. You can pick all of them if you chose to, you know, or you can pick one. And so there's sort of this like user kind of building their own approach thing that I really like.
Exactly. No, it's fantastic. Really, I think those are really good good impressions. The one thing we didn't talk about is they did do some research on this, so there's some good evidence based around the cards themselves and using them. This is some, you know, the European Union has been involved in the sustainable development type goals much more so than we have in the United States. So I'm excited to be able to bring this kind of in, but also excited that here's another group that's wanting to make this all open access, so everyone can get access to kind of starting to think about and use these. So it's fantastic. Well, we have another one in the United States. So the one organizing we just talked about is thinking about organizing occupations around the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And as you mentioned, there's 170 occupations. We have a list on the resource guide for that, so they can see which occupations fit with those.
Yes.
But basically, when you figure out where you want to start, it's easier to look at 10 occupations than it is to look at 500 occupations.
For sure.
So it kind of clumps it together in the starting place. And in the United States, we have what have been called career clusters. Originally, there were 17. There are some leading organizations that specifically working with the U.S. Department of Education. This was something that they funded through their Office of Career and Technical and Adult Education, OCTE. But Advanced CTE, and Kate Kramer, who's the CEO there, and Stacy Whitehouse, who's a dear colleague, you know, they're working hard to make this something that's translatable and usable out of the community. And as I understand now, there's a whole new set. They've kind of redone it a bit. They had the one set that had 17 clusters. Now they're down to what? How many were they down to?
I think it's 14 now.
14 clusters now. And so, Annie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with these clusters?
Yeah. So the U.S. Department of Ed and, you know, Advanced CT and a couple other organizations adapted the original 17 career clusters they sort of reorganized them, renamed them, moved some of the subclusters around to better fit.
So they didn't drop jobs.
They did not drop jobs. No.
Just put them in some different categories.
Yeah, everything just kind of not everything. Some things just got shifted around a little bit, but nothing was eliminated. So I think that's something that we want to sort of emphasize is that the same things are there. They're just maybe under a slightly different name, in a different category.
Yeah.
Some clusters were broken up into other clusters now. And so one of the resources that we've set aside for today is a career cluster crosswalk from the U.S. Department of Ed. And it basically shows the original clusters and then what they were combined into or what was added in this new arrangement of career clusters. So yeah, that'll be linked in our resource guide.
But more importantly, we have the Advanced CTE website listed, and they've got fancy graphics.
They do.
It looks really fun to look at.
It's very pretty. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So which do you know? Do you look at the clusters? What are you drawn to in terms of? I forgot to ask that about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have to come back to that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But talk about career clusters. Which of those are you most excited about?
So I'm particularly excited about the public service and safety one. So for those of you just joining, I'm planning to go to law school in the future. So that is the cluster I'm most interested in. But to add on to what Annie was talking about the clusters, I'm just really interested in why they renamed and regrouped, which was pretty fascinating to know. Just because they've just been adapting and growing, right? It's not fixed. And I feel like that growth is just so important, especially with changes in generations and priorities. And if it doesn't change, then people are not going to be interested, right? So I think that's very cool.
Yeah, and I think we'll bring someone in from Advanced CTE to talk to us about that, so we get some more detail. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I want to just have you go a little deeper, because you're not just wanting to be a lawyer. You know, you're talking about with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, you're talking about community and wanting to provide, you know, support to make sure people have access to you know, what they need, right? So you're just not doing law. Maybe you could just say you're doing something a little bit more than that, right?
Yeah. So, well, though I'm trying to go to law school in the future, I want to particularly study about the criminal justice system as well as the healthcare system in the United States, because I'm pretty curious and I want to change how much access is available to incarcerated people in terms of healthcare access, right? Because right now they do not have much because they're a very hidden population, and people frankly just don't care enough about incarcerated people at all. So I think that's what draws me, and you can see from earlier what I shared is just the compassion and the sense of community and all of this that I want to bring together in like all of my values that I want to prioritize and work with in my occupation.
Yeah. And then one more thing before Annie, before you can jump in there, one of the things I want to emphasize is we see this as a skill set. Career exploration is a skill, and so the skill you have is you've gone in and found something that fits value-wise.
Yes.
It kind of provides an opportunity around where to position myself as I'm moving.
Yeah.
But in time, law may be the piece, but you may be doing other kinds of things. There may be other areas or other areas of healthcare, other things that may become interesting or opportunities. And it's that ability to see the transferability of our skills, which is a really critical skill these days.
Yes,
in the
for
old
sure.
days, we'll call that in the 1970s, you could kind of leave work and take on a job and be there for life. It's been a long time since that's happened. So now we need to be ready to adjust. And so it's exciting to hear as you're exploring, and that's why we're doing this kind of exploration. We're learning how the world is organized. We're looking at what kind of occupations are near each other, what they look like. That's the skill set we're learning, how to begin learning how to navigate through this. And then over time, inspiration kicks in. And you two are kind of already gone through one level of education in college. So you've got a little more clarity as you're going. But when we're working with middle high school students, we don't need them to be clear yet. We need them to understand how I get clear. How do I learn about these? And then how do I reflect on the education pathways to get there?
Yes, and there's like no one way to do that, right? And that's what we'll get into later as well. Just about Annie and I's experiences with career exploration, and though they were very different, we're still very happy about where we are today.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and I definitely, there's no way I could stand in front of a high schooler and say, you have to figure this out concretely now, because I didn't have it figured out concretely in high school.
Right.
I think I probably figured it out slightly concretely 2 years ago. And it's still going to change,
Still a work in progress, which is that's exactly fine. So tell us about what came up for you with the career clusters.
Well, so for me, it was education. Shocker. But one thing that I thought was quite interesting, similarly to Shrey, I feel very drawn to working in communities, building communities, supporting communities, whatever the definition of community may be.
Yes.
And if memory serves, advanced CTE uses a quote-unquote cluster grouping of caring for communities, and I think both education and public service and safety fall under that cluster grouping. And so I just thought that was quite interesting.
It's very interesting.
But then again, caring for communities, I would say, is applicable to both.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's really interesting the way that advanced CTE has layered that resource.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Because you wouldn't think about that.
Yeah, not necessarily. Right.
Yeah. That's very cool.
And then one thing that I think stuck out to me slightly differently throughout the clusters is the changed terms that they have used for this sort of iteration of it. So one term that we've heard a lot the last few years is supply chain.
Yes.
And they're now using supply chain with transportation and logistics, advanced manufacturing instead of manufacturing, and that's another sort of buzzy term these days. It's now management and entrepreneurship, another buzzy term. So I think that they have really updated it, like you were saying, Shrey, sort of generationally.
Yes.
They added energy and natural resources, which I think is really interesting. So careers associated with that.
Yeah.
And then even education, it gets broken down into, there's now facilitation, which is part of it. And I think that really speaks to a lot of the work that we do with community organizations. And it's not just youth and kids in a classroom in a traditional public school.
Yes.
There's so much outside of school learning that happens and programming. And so I think that the cluster sort of really reflects that, and the transferable skills, all woven through there.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point, because I think that should be recognized in a lot more places than it is right now, right? Especially what you were talking about with education just being, I guess a lot of people, even I, until a few years back, saw it as classroom, students, teachers, and that's it. That's where your education ends. But like you said, it just goes so much more beyond that.
Yeah.
Like community organizations, you learn through apprenticeships. Like there's just so many things that go that's not just in a classroom.
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Well, and I think sometimes too, one of the things that I think keep hearing about is sort of like, there's a term for it and I'm going to forget it. It's more like learner-driven.
Learner-centered.
Yeah, learner-centered. So it is sort of more facilitation of them doing their own learning than educating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Yep.
So I think that's great too.
Yeah, helping them kind of define their pathway and then supporting it as opposed to feeling like I need to teach it all to them.
Right.
Well, let's just do one quick kind of business piece, which is, the CTE is a very U.S.-centric term, career and technical education. We just want to recognize that internationally, we have a number of colleagues that we're connected with internationally. It's referred to as vocational and education in training, so it's called VET, V-E-T. So we've kind of dropped the vocational part because it had as you saw, as Annie, you were just saying, we're kind of bringing in some new language to spark things up. So at some point, career and technical education seemed to be a more easily digestible.
Yeah.
But we find the word career still has some odd words to it. It's either now means more of a technical education, or does it mean, professional, and then who gets access? So we're going to be using the word occupation a lot of times, just to be thinking about what's the kind of decent pathway to social mobility, the decent work pathway, and thinking of occupational. But yes, certainly career is still out there and people can use it. But I just wanted to let people know that the VET programs are really important. We've got some really great international resources we'll bring in at some point to talk about some of those pieces. But the other piece I want just to talk a little bit about is career technology, because I don't know about you, but I don't know much about any given particular career. I mean, I know what I do, but it doesn't mean I know what the average salaries are. It doesn't mean I know what the training pathways might be, because it might not all be college. There might be some non-college pathways. I don't know necessarily what all the skills are that are involved, or what the day in the life might be. And so these online career information systems are critical to helping youth and our families really begin to explore what's really happening. And so the nice part is I don't have to be an expert in all that, because we have the technology to help us. And our biggest one, our most robust one in the U.S., and it can be used internationally, it's all open access, is the ONET. It's referred to as ONET. And the way you get to that is you can type in onetonline.org is really will get you there, ONET online.org. And what you'll find there is hundreds of occupations, and within each occupation, so much information around what's going on. And then when we talk about career exploration skills, it's how do I learn to gather what information in order to help me in terms of where I am right now, right? So I don't need to know everything. I need to know, should I be thinking about this? Is there going to be, for example, if it's social mobility, what might be the average income? If it's education, what level is involved in that? How do I make good decisions about the level of education I need? So I know some people say, well, you don't all need college. Well, college is a word that can include both 2-year and 4-year. And most of us will all need at least some of that 2-year college piece, right? Because there's going to be apprenticeships, certifications to a lot of these different pathways too. So we need to be, college is a word that's hard to use in that way, but because we keep thinking 4-year. But the career tech systems will help us. They'll tell us what's the percentage of individuals without a college degree or a 4-year degree that are in this industry, right? And what's happening there. By the way, air traffic controllers. Ooh. Look that up. Not needing that 4-year degree. And they make a lot of money. They have a little stress though.
It's kind of a high pressure job.
It is a high pressure job, but it's an important job, and we need more. It sounds like so. We're just putting the word out there. So what's interesting about ONET is it's supplied by our U.S. government. It's the U.S. Bureau of Labor stats. They take care of that, and all of the other online systems for which are out on the marketplace. We have lots of companies that are in this space. They are using the information from ONET, and then they're packaging it in some nice graphics.
Yep.
It functions better because ONET is a very kind of flat space. You just got to go in and start looking around. They'll give us ideas about, well, we'll start here and we'll do this, and they'll have a portfolio to store it all in. So the online systems that are out there that are commercially available are really important.
Yeah.
Some states offer it for free. So here in Massachusetts, we have Mass Hire, which offers a free access to a system, which is nice for every citizen. We have MIFA Pathway, which is here in Boston, and they're part of the loan guarantors, and they've created and developed and are maintaining and continuing to evolve an online system that's open to all the schools in Massachusetts, middle and high schools. So and there's other states that have followed suit. They have other groups, right?
Yeah.
So we have in your resource all the ones that are out there that we found, the major popular ones. Brief description of each one, what's in there, how they function. So you'll be able to kind of see what those look like. There's also, for those of you who are maybe in a district and you're looking to purchase into one of these systems, we also have a list of here are the things to look for. You know, what are the standard things that we should be thinking about when we put together a request for proposals, things like that. So you have some information there. But yeah.
That's very cool because I looked at ONET and now I'm thinking, because one of my friends is an HVAC engineer. I don't know what that means.
HVAC.
Yeah, I was like, what is an HVAC engineer?
Well, during COVID, they became the most important person in the world.
Yeah, because she earns a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's like, what's our air quality? And that did not become an issue until COVID. And then everyone was concerned, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gotta look that one up, too.
I know it. So, yeah, so you're right. So when you find out something like that and you don't know, you find out how important it is, then you can learn more about it. How can I jump into it?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So how about your experiences in career exploration? Let's take a little break on this, and then we'll come back and kind of talk about our different resources and things that we've gone through. But how did it happen, and how might some of the things we're talking about have supported you differently?
Oh gosh.
Ooh, big question.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I'll start. So I hadn't thought about this in years until probably a week ago, but my high school did something, and I believe they still do it, where every graduating class of seniors, their last month of senior year pre-graduation is called Senior Experience. And the idea is that every graduating senior finds a job, a volunteer position, an internship outside of the school building. And, you know, you'd have a resume, you'd go through an interview process. Guidance counselors can help set it up for you if you need that. And you would kind of go and have a job work experience. And the irony of it is that my work experience was helping set up for the summer camp that I worked at for years, from early teenage to early 20s, putting together activities and supply lists and agendas for every week of the summer. Kind of like curriculum design.
Which you've become very interested
Which
in.
is what I'm doing a lot of now. And so I would say, like, aside from that, it was sort of babysitting and volunteering at summer camps, and I had a very short-lived period of time as a restaurant hostess, 2 weeks. And that was sort of what I really remember us doing. Outside of that, there was a lot of different aptitude tests. The one that sticks out to me was in 8th grade, when, I probably mentioned this before, when I came back as having a high aptitude as a prison guard. Never really felt drawn to it. Not before then, not since. But it's just one that sticks out, you know. And then Naviance was a system that I recall our school system having, and
So it's one of the commercial systems.
one of the
that are out
commercial systems. Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a fair number of things from middle school to high school.
Yeah.
But the senior experience was one that I really remember fondly.
So interesting how, as you're just going along in life, and all of a sudden you find yourself organizing and preparing for a whole summer of things.
Yeah.
The transferability of that experience to once you're now in an education, realizing, oh, that was a real thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't just getting ready for summer camp. That's actually a set of
No,
skills.
exactly.
And there's people who actually train on how to do this in these ways, right? And so you had the experience of it, but then now the tools and the theory and the research around how to do that.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting to see it kind of come together.
It is, and gosh, I haven't thought about it in so long, but it's just a funny sort of full circle moment,
Yeah,
too.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sheree, how about you?
Yeah, so all of my career exploration happened in college. So when I moved here, I came in as an economics major, and then I was working at the dining hall in Warren Towers at BU for a year. Because, to make money. I didn't know if I wanted that as a career back then, and then, so I explored with majors a lot. So I went into psychology for a month. Did not like it.
Kind of the hostess kind of situation. A couple weeks, not so much. Okay.
Yeah. And then went, funnily enough, to Wheelock College for applied human development minor.
Nice. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. I didn't recall it until about an hour ago.
Oh, by the way.
Sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah, and then I added it too quickly because I didn't exactly explore it too much, and then I realized it's not for me. And then I did public health. Okay, that was what really drew me. And then sociology, finally, which was my other major. So a lot of things, right? And then even with sociology, I did not know what exactly I wanted to do with it. So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about community organizations, right? So one of the community organizations that still plays a huge role in my life is Leadership Brainary. They are a nonprofit based in Boston who support students of color in getting them into higher education, basically. So you have to be like in undergrad, and then if you want to go to grad school or professional school, whatever it may be, they will help you with that, right? Which is really awesome because people don't tell you how exactly to get there. You just think people wake up and go to law school, but apparently not.
If only.
Yeah, if only.
And what's the name of the organization?
Leadership Brainary.
Leadership Brainary. Very nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're really awesome. They actually started at BU, funnily enough, at Innovate
Good thing
at
started
BU.
at BU.
Yes, which is why you should come to Wheelock. But yeah, and then that fellowship helped me a lot in exploring myself and my skills, which led me to law school
That's
and
awesome.
wanting to pursue law. So that was my career journey.
Wow. So much for those who are going to end up in college, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year, right, coming in, I've always likened it to kind of like a supermarket that's closed until you get there. And you hear about it and people talk about it, but until you get there, you really can't understand it, right? Every single aisle has all these different opportunities and majors and different things happening and things you can do with that. And I almost feel like it's better what you did is probably the right way to do it. Come in and fumble around a while.
Yeah.
Fumble and see what looks good. How does that look? How does that feel? What does this feel like? And just taking some time to just fully explore the opportunities, because there's no way anyone can tell you what those really are until you get here.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely did some fumbling around, and it was not sequential. And it wasn't even at one school.
Yeah.
But it was really important.
Yeah,
It
because
was
it
really
makes you like
important.
sure of yourself,
Yeah.
you know. Which
Well,
is
and
really
Trey,
great.
I mean, you did a lot of exploring in 4 years, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you explored, so.
Yeah, and I know that for some it can become an economic issue if you're changing majors here and there. Thankfully, at a school like BU, you can change the majors,
Yes.
and they have a very, very active way of supporting all that, right? But it is the idea that at 17, 16, having that
Right.
decision made is really hard. But
Yeah.
more importantly, it's again the skills. So everything you're developing is transferable. It's transferring now into law, but
Right.
all of the other places the stuff can transfer. As you're talking about leadership and
Yes.
community building and stuff is amazing. So it's really building a strong foundation.
Yes.
And then from there, kind of moving forward. And I think that's the big piece, right? Being actively engaged.
Yeah.
So when we talk about self-exploration, we're wanting that active engagement, finding out more information. Who can I talk with? What can I learn more about? Things like that.
Yeah, and I would never change a thing, even if I had to go back and do it all over again,
Yeah.
you know?
No, that's how I feel too. It's
Yeah.
like, it didn't feel great 100% of the time trying to figure it out, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
This is great.
It was worth it.
So we went through a lot today. Why don't we
Yes, we
kind of
did.
think through the different resources? We have one on the UN Sustainable Development Cards, a values,
The values
sort. Yeah, and you can print that off front and back, and you'll have to do it on some cardstock and color. It's going to be fantastic, easy to use. They just have to cut it. I did that on the cutting board, by the way. Be safe. It's a little scary.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my goodness, I was scared. It was close, but it was like, oh my gosh, things kept sliding.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe I'll have them cut it next time. And then we have, and then we also in that there's a whole list of occupations that link to those sustainable development goals. So that's a fun one to look at. And then we have the clusters as well, and we have both a link to the advanced CTE, but also the for those that are involved in teaching or involved in this area, you might want to see the crosswalk. How those link up, and as parents, if you've been involved in CTE, your
Absolutely.
schools may be changing. This will be the year that they're starting to change over into these other clusters. And then what else do we have?
We also have, we did mention your book. Your
Okay.
book is in there
Oh, wow, nice.
because it does have a whole section on career
Yes, it
exploration
does.
skills, which also has resources in there. What else? We have a lot on there. Oh, we have the 2 documents about the career tech platforms. The one document detailing sort of what to look for if you're in the market for a platform, and then some researched examples of platforms. Zello, MIFA Pathways on there. There's a couple others.
Yeah, a couple of the commercial. We have a whole bunch of commercial ones that are out there, so you can go and see what they look like.
I think that about does
Yeah,
it.
and what we're in our area, we don't. People have always asked me, so which one to use? We're agnostic around which system. It's really a fit for your organizations and stuff. But I will say that the people that I've been able to work with and consult with, and some of them, like Zello and IntelliSpark are groups that we have consulted with, amazing people. And they're really focused on it's a social impact issue for them. And because this is not a high end in terms of economics, schools can't afford huge amounts, so they've got to keep it at a very tight price. But they are so committed to wanting to develop this generation to really have these skill sets.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, so really encourage people to kind of look through as they're looking at those. And really, when we talk about that, it's more. These are really priced for the system, so like the school level, state level, things like that. But you do have, when you go into your workforce development boards as adults, we do have access a lot of times to these systems like ONET, which is free.
Right.
ONET will get you to jobs. It'll get you to all the different skills you need. It's just a little more, I wouldn't say cumbersome. It's a little more complicated to move through than some of these other systems.
There's a lot of information. in
Huge
there.
amounts. I love it. Once you get used to
It's
it,
great.
Yeah.
it's a one-stop. I love having all that information at my fingertips. But when you're just getting started, there can be some other ways too. And for those adults that are saying, I've got to do this myself, you do have your career one-stops. And honestly, you have your 2-year colleges where this is what they do.
Yeah.
So even if you're not sure where I'm going, start with one of your 2-year colleges and go in and talk to the advising corps and say, hey, what do we have here? It's amazing how many things they can turn around into higher paying jobs pretty quickly, as we go forward. So anyway, that's part of that whole exploration stuff. So I guess now I just want to, Trey, did you want to start our closing up?
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for taking a moment for youth. To access resources from today's conversation, go to our Center for Future Readiness YouTube channel where you will find links to these resources and many more. And coming soon, we will have a resource portal for many more open access resources.
Yep. And we hope you'll join us here on Take a Moment as we continue to discuss future readiness.
Yep, I think our next topic will be around planning, and then we're going to go into some more specific areas and bring in some guests.
Yep.
Talk about those as well, so look forward to that. Also, we will be announcing, we hope soon, hopefully around the turn of the year, a brand new master's degree in career counseling,
Nice.
as well as a specialization for those who already have a master's degree to then specialize in career development. We'll have a set of courses one can take for that, and it'll be really targeted for those that are already working in the field in some way as an educator, workforce development professional, HR professional, college advisors. We want you to kind of think through, just to give those extra skill sets so they gain more confidence in the whole process. So please look forward to that. We'll be launching in fall is our plan. So at Wheelock College of Education and Human Development, we are looking for you, undergraduate and graduate students who want to transform the lives of children and youth throughout the world. As the co-director of this center, we're especially interested in those next generation of school counselors, career development professionals. You heard applied human development from Shrey today, which is another area. We also have adolescent child mental health and sports psych. So our Department of Counseling Psychology Applied Human Development has a lot of great things that we're doing right now, and we're all focused on social justice, community-based kinds of interventions and such. So for now, goodbye from me, Scott Solberg.
And goodbye for me, Amy Bell.
Goodbye from me, Shreya Venkatesan.